1, 2, get down.
Freedom Radio.
Definitely, we are back on the scene, and we are talking to Brother Wendell Phillips, the inventor of the 24-second LED digital shot clock, an invention that definitely changed the game of basketball and also other things around commerce in the United States and beyond. And let's do this. Let's take a moment to really recognize the role and value of independent media. This has obviously been something that this brother has been dealing with for the last 20 years. But let's take an opportunity to express to the audience the extreme importance of independent media and the ability to freely speak and document the stories and the issues of the people. So we definitely want to invite the listening audience to stay with us and to do further research about this brother and about this particular invention of this basketball shot clock, the thing that actually changed the game of what we know today. But let's get back to Lansing, Michigan. Let's talk about your senior year in high school into college and some of your experiences that you had during that time.
Well, in high school, if you would call sports the carrot, that was the carrot that gave me the incentive. That's like the greyhound coming out the cage, chasing after the rabbit, knowing that he couldn't catch it. But that gave me the incentive to pursue education. And one thing about growing up in Lansing, I would give Duffy Doherty a lot of credit. He allowed the football gladiators and the Guskanakis would let the basketball players doing the Urban League, they would join together and they would infiltrate the community with Lansing's parks and recreations, and the people who you admire that you would see them on TV would be in your community, and you say, wow, you participate in the sports, you get a chance to play college ball. So to me, playing basketball was that carrot, that rabbit that gave me the incentive to persevere and pursue with aspirations of going to college. But I had to separate myself when I transferred from Sexton to Lansing Eastern, and I was experiencing some academic issues, and I was trying hard to get my grades up, and then I started sending out, to see where I could go to college. And academics was an interesting phenomenon, and hoping that my athletic abilities could get me a scholarship, where I did get a scholarship, full ride to Adrian, but as far as my ego, I guess I wanted to prove that I could play D1. I was a very aggressive player.
Where's Adrian? What is that?
Adrian, believe it or not, is southern Michigan. It's right outside of Jackson, Michigan. The prison is in Jackson.
Okay.
But Adrian is about 45 miles of Jackson, and then it's another 75 miles kind of southeast of Detroit.
Okay.
But had I went to Adrian, I would have met up with...
this is college, right?
Yeah. I would have met up with Congressman Mike Rogers.
Okay.
But fate led me to go a different direction, and I'm glad I did, because Mike Rogers is not really favorable in my eyesight.
Okay. Well, hold on. So you were a senior. You played basketball your senior year in high school, correct?
That's correct.
Well, let's talk about your senior year in high school basketball real quick. So you're basically the same age as Magic, correct?
Magic, I got 2 years on Magic.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your senior year, which would have been his sophomore year.
That's correct.
What was the basketball like in the city of Lansing at that time?
Well, to be honest, the rivalry in the city was Lansing, Eastern, Sexton, and Everett. There was a Harry Hill, but that was relatively a new school. But Earvin Johnson had really shocked inner city expectations to have a guy at the time, I believe, we called him Junebug. Okay. And before he got the stamping of magic or any of his wizardry, I knew him as Junebug. But he really had people captivated with his ability to show his showmanship on the court. And then we had another guy by the name of Jay Vincent, who was on my team. And I went out one day before a game to play that we had was going to play a school called Hope, Michigan, and they had a star named Jeff Trofe. And I went out with Terry Furlow, God bless his soul. He's a Michigan State great, broke a record of 60 points against Iowa. I was there to witness it. And he was going to work on my jump shot, and went out to the IM, and I sprained my ankle. And after that, Jay Vincent was already on the team. Like Magic was a freshman, 2 big stories of sophomores playing varsity.
So Magic and Jay Vincent, varsity is sophomore.
Yeah, and
same school.
No, Magic's at Everett, Jay's at Eastern. We're arch rivalries, but it run deeper than that because, come to find out, my coach coached Magic's coach, okay. And so Cook was the coach for Magic at Everett, and Paul, let me get this right, Fox was the coach for Magic. Okay. Cook was my coach at Eastern. But Cook coached Fox, but Fox outfoxed Cook in our playoffs. What happened was that we filled up the gymnasiums across the city. We had to take it to different arenas or gymnasiums because there were so many people wanted to see Magic Johnson, Jay Vincent, Greg Lloyd. We all had good teams, and
these are all black. Pretty much black teams, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. It was pretty much balanced out because of the busing and that kind of thing. But the excitement came where you could see young gladiators in the sport of basketball promote in the city. And that's where it all came from. But I was just excited to know that sports in Lansing, just coming out of junior high school, you had a uniform. Today, I don't even think that they have, they had uniform from football, basketball, track, even swimming, But because of the budget cuts, the opportunity to be involved in after-school activity, in my opinion, is one of the reasons why our youth are led to other things such as drugs and just even the association of that has diminished where their pants have fallen down to their knees. When you're participating in an after-school sport, part of that carrot program, as I say, chasing after that rabbit, that incentive, you're going to come to school looking the best you can, trying to be the best example that you can because you're representing the school, you're representing the city. And when those values diminish because of budget cuts, that would be the last thing that you want to take out from the growth and development of a child. So anyway, going up to high school, I got one offer, and I didn't go for it. I went to Kentucky. I was able to get enrolled in the University of Kentucky. I made the team, but that first year academically, I was in trouble, so I had a choice.
You enrolled at the University of Kentucky, and you made the basketball team.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who was there was Jack Goose Givens, Rick Rovey, Mike Phillips, Reggie Warford, Truman Clater out of Toledo, Pat Foshee, who people own the Foshee Tower here in Minneapolis. And Dwayne Casey, he's the coach at the Raptors. I called him up the night before they won the championship in Dallas, and I just said, play like they did in Kentucky. Be rough in the paint.
Right.
Dwayne got him a national. He got an NBA title.
What position did you play?
I was more like a power forward. I was not to sound narcissistic in a sense, but I was very aggressive. Magic would tell you right now, there was a sportsman in Lansing. His name was Tim Stout. And he said, well, if Phillips can stay in the game, but he usually fouls out in the first quarter. Okay. I was very aggressive, and I love rebounding and banging in the paint. So if I could be compared maybe to a Barkley or a Rodman, my game would be more or less to, hey, let's do this.
Right.
So
Right.
I was aggressive.
Okay. Well, let's do this. That's important because those experiences that you just talked about in Lansing, playing the sport, definitely shaped, I'm sure, your vision, your forward-thinking vision for this 24-second shot clock, and the emphasis on the LED digital technology. I want you to just answer this briefly before we go to this next break. But were you thinking about any of that while you were playing ball in college, or when did this initial thought around that invention take place?
Well, that's a very interesting presentation that you inserted there, because I was in 6th grade and I always wanted to go to Marquette University, where Dean Meminger and Jimmy Jones, a friend of mine, Sam Couthen, showed me on a Sports Illustrated pictures of Jimmy Jones and Dean Meminger, and there's another athlete I could mention, but they had these prison stripe uniforms, but I thought they was clever, and they were playing. By the time I get to Marquette, I found out that I transferred from Kentucky, by the way, to go to Marquette.
Oh, okay.
And both schools, Marquette, Kentucky, in successions. Kentucky, I think, won it in 77, 76, Marquette 77, 78, then Michigan State won it 77, 78, 79. But what happened at Marquette was I found out that Bo Ellis designed their jerseys where normally or traditionally the athletes would wear their jerseys tucked inside their shorts. And Bo had...
Who was Bo?
Bo Ellis was the center, Maurice Ellis. They call him Bo. He got designed the uniform.
Really? Okay.
And Rick Majerus and Al McGuire allowed him to have that latitude. And I just thought that was great, just being innovative, how the Fab Five came out with the shorts down to the knee. So, when black athletes get together, they seem to set a trend like they're doing now in football. They always wanted to show some showmanship of celebrating when they score a touchdown or, scoring a basket, we won a point. You know how it is. But innovation is in our DNA.
Right.
But I guess I would say that transition from graduating from high school, going to college, graduating, the entrepreneurial concept, because I love the game of basketball, even though there were shortcomings in trying to get in that limelight and getting in the court, and playing. There's other aspects of the industry.
Yes.
And so I just thought what I could do to enhance the game would be based on some things to heighten. And I found out that the sport at the professional level, the gate, the tickets, the concessions, were not bringing in numbers from the Nielsen rating. I read Science magazine, about LEDs and popular science. And when I came across to LEDs and how it could be futuristic, riding the wave. Well, how can I be a part of this wave, and how can I address some innovation of something that's going to be coming? And so, go ahead.
Well, because let's do this, because you're getting ready to get into the whole meat of everything. I want everybody to understand that you are talking to Brother Wendell Phillips. He is the inventor, the visionary of the 24-second shot clock, with the emphasis on the LED technology and the digital aspect of the shot clock. I want the listening audience to really understand that this black man pioneered a different way that this great game of basketball has been played. So when we come back from this break, we're going to pick up exactly where you left off, with which is actually a very good point. Watching somebody else be innovative was actually an influence with you. And also the role of understanding the industry at that time of the game of basketball. So this is some really good stuff, brother. We'll be right back and following up with this very important brother who we want everybody to know about. Brother Wendell Phillips, the inventor of the 24-second digital LED shot clock in the professional and collegiate sport of basketball. We'll be right back.
Freedom Radio.
They're playing basketball. We love that basketball.